Okay, we're going live now. Okay, we're now live. So we've all just connected, so we're sort of jumping straight into it. What I'll do, it's the same as I just explained to Alex, but I'll explain to Nadim and to the rest of you as well. The idea is I'll do a very brief intro of what the Connected Mobility Hub is, and in particular the annual investor event that we do each year. For literally 5 minutes, then we'll jump into a half-hour sort of discussion between Nadim, Alex, myself about investment trends in smart mobility, and then we've got the 4 pitches from startups that are members of the Connected Mobility Hub, and if Alex and Nadim can stay on with me, if not, it doesn't matter. Then we can all ask questions. The idea is we've got 4 minutes. For the pitching, and then we've got 6 minutes for questions. If anyone from the audience wants to launch a question, please do. There is a little bit of a time lag always, so the sooner you ask the question, the better. It's more likely that it's going to appear on screen when the person you want to ask is on screen rather than when the next one appears. With that, I'll just jump into the quick intro then of the Connected Mobility Hub and the investor event. So I'm Tom Horsey. My day-to-day job is as an early stage VC focused on Spain, early stage startups in Spain. But one of the things that I did going back now 7 years is with Sergio Diaz, who isn't with us today, but we set up an association, a non-profit association of startups focused on smart mobility within Europe, mainly Southern Europe, but Europe generally. So for the last, I think we've now done 6 events. So for the last 6 years, we've been doing annual face-to-face investor events where 20 startups pitch. In 1 year we had 22, but the idea is that 20 startups pitch, and then there's a series of investors. I think it oscillates between about 50 and 75 investors that are smart mobility focused and are all there in person. Alex and Nadim have been to multiple events that we've done. So it is very specialized in smart mobility. The investors tend to be from all over, but obviously because we're based in Spain, there's a larger proportion perhaps of Spain than they should be, according to the mix of within Europe, the mix of the ecosystem. But well worth joining. Very interesting networking, very interesting startups. So the next event we do is during the Global Mobility Call, which happens in on the 20, so between the 24th and the 26th of October, and this is in Madrid. And the Smart Mobility Investor event will be on the 25th of October. So if you do have the opportunity, if you are a smart mobility investor and you do have the opportunity to join us on the 25th of October in Madrid, honestly, it's very worthwhile. It's a one-day event. Arrive the previous evening or arrive that morning, and you can leave the next day. It is all day. So we do pitches in the morning, then we have a sort of an investor lunch. Then we have a sort of a speed networking between the investors, and then a bit of a break, and then we have dinner all together. So anyway, very interesting. 25th of October. Obviously, if you're a startup, smart mobility startup, the same applies. That it would be an interesting event for you. Feel free to apply. The website I'll put on a banner in a second, but it's connectedmobilityhub.com, and then you click on the investment option. I'll say that again, connectedmobilityhub.com, and I'll put it on a banner in a second, and I'll put this banner about the incorporating questions into the chat. If you've got any questions, as I say, feel free to fire away either during the pitches or in the discussion we're about to have. So with that, without more ado, Alex, Nadim, feel free to introduce yourselves, and we'll jump straight into it. Alex, maybe you go first because you're next on.
Okay. Hello, everyone. I'm Alexandre Grandremy. I've worked for mobility for 15 years and tech and investment. I created the first peer-to-peer car sharing like 15 years ago. So I'm pretty into shared mobility. And more recently, with my company, Planet Impact Advisory, we support leading investment funds to help them invest in smart mobility and climate tech. And we have built a database of mobility startups of over 7,000 mobility startups, and we are still looking for the best mobility startups coming to us in Europe.
Thank you, Alex. Well, following up, I'm Nadim Matuk from Liil Ventures. And like Alex, during the last years, specifically 6, we are the corporate venture arm of Mobility ADO, a public mobility operator that has operation pretty much in all Latin America and Hispanic America, Spain, Portugal, and other regions. And yeah, our role here is to, of course, understand the new technologies and the new trends. During the last years, we have invested in 22 companies, and we also invest in other mobility funds to get access to these future scenarios. And the differentiator I think we are looking for is to apply those solutions, right? And to provide market access as soon as possible in order to validate the ideas. So that's in a nutshell what we do.
Fantastic. Thanks, guys. Okay, so to hit off, I'm gonna pick on you, Alex, because yesterday you did a post and you were talking about e-bikes. Now, obviously, this is an area. Anything that's electric is an area of interest, particularly given the current macro political situation in Europe, at least. So I don't know. Far away. What are your thoughts on e-bikes and the potential for investment?
Well, first of all, as you said, the context is quite helping, and also the COVID context help. I don't know in every country, but at least in France, it was the government decided to make temporary bike lanes, and now they just announced a huge plan to invest in bike lanes and to build a huge amount of bike lanes. Like the investment is pretty huge. It's like several billions. I don't recall the exact number. So I guess for the development of the market, it's the best timing, I would say. And of course, to me, that which worked on getting a more sustainable mobility in our cities, I think it's the key of the urban mobility for everyone to have an e-bike, and I would say for the ones that are still hesitating to buy an e-bike because they have children, now exists the cargo bike solution that is also booming in France, and so you saw the number that I shared yesterday on LinkedIn. It's going to be huge by 2027, I think. Around 60 billion euros market for just the EV bike. So,
but that's great. But from an investment perspective, where do you see the opportunities? Obviously, there are lots of opportunities because it's a growing market. But cargo bikes. You've only got to go to Autonomy in Paris, and you see 30 different cargo bikes. Which one's gonna succeed? Then you've got things like, obviously in France, you've got Upway with their reconditioning of e-bikes, which I think that's an interesting one. But again, really difficult. Where's your barrier to entry there? It's very difficult for an Upway to compete with local companies buying local bikes and selling local bikes. So where do you see, from an investment perspective, where do you see the best focus?
I would think, personally, I think a really great focus is probably like in many cases in other businesses, to also focus on B2B, because nowadays in I think all across Europe, every company wants to reduce their carbon footprint and to help employees to move faster with a more comfortable way, and also to reduce themselves their carbon footprint, individually speaking. And I think what like the benefit of yesterday, for like managers, companies tended to offer like a great Mercedes as a as a welcome reward. I think the next Mercedes will be an EV bike for every manager, every employee, of a good quality, of course. So I think the premium segment for companies is definitely something that I can see a business case, a quite clear business case on my side.
It's funny that you say that, because I had lunch with a director from WebHelp a while ago. If he's watching, hi Julio. And we had lunch in Barcelona, and he came out with his, carrying his e-bike, and it had been a present from the company instead of a company car. So just very quickly, hi Anne, hi Angie, that you both put a quick hello up on screen. Do make any comment. Oh, and Blanca, there we go. Here's another one. Nadim. So LATAM, Mexico City. I don't know. You got huge distances, but maybe you don't actually move that far often. But I think, isn't Mexico City the capital of the helicopters? So to go from a helicopter to an e-bike, what's the difference from a regional perspective in that respect? You've obviously got the safety factor as well. So.
Yeah, there are many, and adding to Alex's answers, I think for sure bikes, it's the clear winner, right, from all these micromobility kind of behavior, because of the hardware, the assets, and the heritage that we have, right? We have learned a lot from bikes from many years. Now, I'm not a specialist in hardware itself, and I think you were asking about who will be the winner. I think the market is too big, and as owners, we will select. It's like OEMs and private cars, right? We have multiple car brands and segments for each one of an individual users, and I think it will happen something similar with bikes. The investment opportunity, I think, will also be on the ancillary services around it, right? Just to put an example, I was talking with the founder of LACA, which is an insurance company that they are understanding the bike owners. So talking about the asset value, right, from an e-bike is not the same as a regular bike. So there are a lot of opportunities from the public perspective if you are doing a sharing service, or the private ownership, right? And you don't want to be involved in an accident, or if your bike is stolen or has some damage, right? What are the services that you're going to need? And I think there's a lot of room in terms of software and understanding, the services around it, that will be, that will be growing. On the regional approach, Tom, Mexico City, I remember from the user perspective, right? Before COVID, we used to have some e-bikes stations, and they decided to remove them. Maybe because of the operations, maybe because of safety reasons. I think we're still learning on those markets how to implement it, but still, I think we are not doing the same investment, Alex, as the city of Paris, to have this infrastructure specifically for bike lanes. We are trying to assign some lanes, but it's not the same safetiness to ride on an individual bike lane without any cars surrounding you, that being like centimeters, right, to a big bus. And I think that's happened with crowded cities. I think that the users are going to push a little bit forward the usage of these bikes. Excuse me. I was remembering the case of Barcelona, where they implement the bike services and how they have been very successful. And from the public aspect, now they are growing, the bids and the licitations to participate in a higher areas. And when they implement the e-bikes, the radio, I think, increased, I think, 5 times, right? From an average of 5 kilometers, adding the e-bike, it converted to 25 kilometers. And I'm sure that there was a lot of substitution, right, in terms of public transport or private cars there. So yeah, definitely it's a trend that is growing. On the regional approach, maybe private bike ownership will be the way to go, because as a door-to-door means of transportation, it's easier, to park, to hide, to store your micromobility vehicle in a private space, right?
Okay, we've got a quick question here. I like the insurance play because it's an interesting one. It's like going from a different angle, and obviously there's a lot of investment in insurance from the insurance companies themselves. But Anne's asking something similar in terms of underage users. You see this, I think, particularly on scooters. Indeed, I saw some the other day going the wrong way down a 2-lane road that with a 70-kilometer-an-hour speed limit, and they were on the wrong side of the road, and it was like 6 kids of 11 years old. Like, oh my God, they've got a death wish, Yeah. But obviously, you know a bit about the insurance side of things. What's your comment about this one, Nadim?
Well, for sure, there used to be a very interesting documentary called Terms and Conditions, and adding to Anne's comment, when you click the I accept, the terms and conditions, the private companies are already, protected in a way. So if they are trying to break these rules, the liabilities are on the consumer behavior, right? But if I'm trying to switch Anne's question and see, okay, I'm a dad, and I'm allowing my kid to grab the scooter, and in an irresponsible way, because maybe they are not aware about, the civics, how to ride, or the precautions they need to take, it's a liability out there. And for sure, we have seen and we have invested in companies that they provide the software as a service, right, from this micromobility. And a lot of implementations have been stopped from the public entities because of liabilities and all these kind of constrictions. What is the solution? In order to drive a private car, you need to have a license, right? I think it should happen something similar, right? If I'm owning a bike or a micromobility vehicle, I should have some sort of, process that I understand the signals, the lighting, the rules to be, or what it means to be on the streets. And also from the income perspective, it should be interesting also from the tax kind of, or the income from the government, right? That nowadays they are not earning anything from allowing these vehicles going on the streets, and maybe as an incentive, or maybe as a charge. Also, I think there's a trend that will evolve. We will learn also how to monetize, right, the usage of those micromobility vehicles.
You've just given two great ideas for entrepreneurs, right? One for the,
well, we need them.
yeah. Well, we do. I mean, EdTech focused on a decent, responsible use of e-bikes and scooters, I think it's a great one. You could have demand from all sides: government, private, B2C, B2B. You've got everything in there. So jumping on a second. Oh, sorry, there's another question. So Anna said, yeah, market opportunity for subsidized services, driving schools for scooters. Exactly. That's what I was seeing as well. There's certainly an opportunity there on that one. So just moving on a little bit in terms of other opportunities within smart mobility. I was on a jury the other day for EIT, urban mobility, and you see a lot of the same things. I sometimes get the feeling that a lot of the innovations already happened, and now it's a situation of sort of scaling up those. They were sort of ahead of the curve in a way from usage or end user market. Just going back to electric bikes, you do see some cool things. I don't know if you remember. I love the idea. That's why I'm going to mention it. I'm not an investor. It's a disclaimer. But do you remember Spinny that we saw last year at the Smart Mobility event? That's this system that you could connect up and it turns a normal bike into an e-bike.
Yes,
I think that there are some weird and wonderful innovations that you can do. But just as a sort of an overall perspective, what are you thinking now from an entrepreneurial point of view that we've taken this example of driving schools for scooters? What do you see as a great potential and one idea for an entrepreneur? Alex, it's your turn because Nadim's given us one. One idea for an entrepreneur to say, look, here's an opportunity that could be taken advantage of.
In the EV bike market?
Generally in smart mobility, and I think to a certain extent to make it a little bit easier for you, because I think these worlds are quite interlinked. Also revolving around sort of climate tech, because there's we talk about smart mobility, but for example, parking and parking spaces, obviously part of prop tech, really. They're vital for either optimizing or making use of mobility services. So I'll make it a little bit broader for you.
Well, I don't have a precise idea to give, but maybe some fields to explore. I'm quite fascinated myself by ChatGPT-4, and I think there is plenty of use case and startups to create using ChatGPT, for example, to actually not invent a new market, because myself, I personally think it's always better to go on an existing big market than to imagine that you are going to create a new market somehow. And maybe, finding your new sales of car through AI with like verification of the state, automatic verification of the state, this kind of thing. I think ChatGPT-4 and all the AI tools that are coming up are giving us in entrepreneurs a lot of opportunities to make things just much more efficient, to save us a lot of time. And of course, if you do that in a market where the transactions are big or there is a lot of volume, well, then you might have a business case.
Okay, that's cool. I mean, I was thinking of one as well. Well, I just thought of another one, but I was thinking of one as Nadim was talking about sort of private ownership of e-bikes, and there are some companies that are working on storage facilities for this, but I haven't really seen something that goes right. That's the solution. I've got no idea what the solution would be. You've got people doing sort of smart lockers for storage. You've got people doing sort of little taking over shops and doing sort of roadside storage, because obviously there's retail space available that's relatively cheap. But there's nothing I've seen that at least from my perspective has gone, wow, okay, okay, that's the one. But there is obviously a potential on that one. And then I was also thinking, the same problem that exists for cars and for houses, and for cars particularly, in that you've got a large capital expense that's used very infrequently, which is what has given opportunities for ride hailing and car sharing and all this kind of business. That exists for multiple other businesses. Obviously, e-bikes is one, because a good e-bike is going to set you back, €5,000 for a good one. Scooters, even scooters are increasing in value. You used to buy a scooter for 400. There are now scooters that are selling for 2,000, and I guess that will happen more and more because they weren't that durable, the previous ones. But also things like camper vans. we use a camper van. And the great thing about things like camper vans is, with creating market, I'm thinking now peer-to-peer rentals or whatever, that with those kind of marketplaces, if you don't control demand or supply, it's really difficult, because you've got to get a match and you've got to build both up at the same time. That's why, car sharing systems are better for, as a general rule, for car manufacturers, because they can control at very least the supply far more than anybody else. But camper vans, tend to already be owned by smaller companies that are renting them out, and there are advantages. And that's my idea. Nadim, you've already given one. If you want to give another one, then I'm sure people will find it interesting. Or if not, we can sort of jump on. I wanted to have a quick chat about sort of EV charging, because that's an area where I see ridiculously high valuations, and it's true that it's a very fast. Alex, you're talking about sort of existing markets. This isn't an existing market per se, but it's a very fast growing one that's taking over from the existing market, which is obviously petrol stations. But you see valuations that to a certain extent don't really, to my mind, seem overvalued, even if it's a market that's growing at 300% or 500% or whatever it is, depending on where you are in the world. I don't know, what are your thoughts on this, and where do you see opportunities, and where do you see, that those companies that are doing things, what are they doing right and what are they doing wrong? Nadim, if you want to start. Alex said the last one.
I think that, of course, the market is there, it's growing, it's an existing market, but I think the integration process, there's a lot of opportunity, and I'm expecting that's where the evaluations are happening, right? Who is, making business with, and how the OEMs are adopting this kind of standardization, because in a way we haven't understood completely the scalability of all this market and the good and the bad points. So as a predictive kind of analysis, our role is to pursue those possible futures and understand the constraints that will create. And I'm looking about this secondary market aspect, right? Like I if I'm buying a Tesla right now, I have the depreciation understanding with the last maybe 5-8 years, but I don't understand the value in the next 20. And from the electrification perspective and the battery perspective, you mentioned some example about how this startup from the last investment event, that it was like an add-on to create a mechanical bike into an e-bike, some sort of those opportunities. And talking from Latin America, right, we're not going to replace all our vehicle fleet or bikes to Teslas or the newest kind of technology, but if we could find some solution that could work as an intermediary. So I'm thinking about how this swappable kind of behavior, and of course understanding the danger, the waste management, cycles. I think there are 3 pillars, which is of course electrification and the usage, the rental, the energy itself. Then it's about the waste management, and then the secondary market. Those would be my 3 kind of areas where I should be pursuing entrepreneurs to provide solutions towards those areas, right? Because we are still going to buy cars. We may or not may change our cars, with certain recurrency. You will have marketplaces to resell, this secondary market. So the market, the already existing markets are there, but what will be the problems in the future? And I'm thinking of those 3.
That's a great comment. I heard I don't know if this is an urban myth, but I heard a rumor. I think it's true that Wallbox, for example, in their offices in Barcelona, because they had I think it was 10 or 15 electric vehicles, had built a system where they could, they were basically using the vehicles to power the offices during the night, and then using solar panels to charge the vehicles during the day. and connecting up. And it was all the hardware was there because they were connecting up using their wall box chargers. It was just doing a software fix so that the electricity could go in both directions, which sounds very simple. It was probably extremely difficult, and the balancing up was complicated. But there's obviously a huge potential for optimizing things, particularly as energy prices are going up, and particularly in certain areas of the world. I mean, there's climate changes here. I think it was 30 degrees in the UK last summer, which is, I remember when I was a kid, it would hit 21 and it would be, people would be going mad, almost mad dogs and Englishmen, as they say. But there is more sunshine, there is more heat. Well, there's an opportunity to do that. Alex, just before I jump to you with the same question, I'm going to add on Anne's comment here. She was basically some ideas of hers for entrepreneurs doing stuff with e-bikes. I guess the problem often with these kind of things is because they're physical infrastructure related, they're slightly more difficult to do on a scalable sort of typical startup basis. But they are undoubtedly opportunities for entrepreneurs. So Alex, just jumping onto you then. Go on, EV charging and market.
I think I agree with Nadim, but I have a complementary point of view. Also because I used recently. I rented an electric car in a peer-to-peer car rental website in Paris, and to be honest, it was a nightmare. I wanted to prolong it, but the battery was reducing, and it was not simple, and a nightmare to find a right spot and just get access to it, pay, and refill the electric tank in a way. And I think I would more focus on the access to the client, how to facilitate the access, because there is, of course, it's like a new market, like you said. So there is everything to build. Like we can think of a TripAdvisor of the EV charging spots. We can think of and of course there are startups in that field, but there is no clear winner to me, and it's not satisfying from a client perspective. Like you can find easily other services in the rest of mobility. So rather than building the best hardware, which of course it's also a topic, but will require a lot of capital, and you have also large players in that part willing to eat the market shares. I would focus on building the perfect experience for users, because also users, they are new into that, so they have to be guided, they have to be everything has to be facilitated. So plenty of places for and room for progress and value for startups.
I love hearing that comment, because there's no clear winner yet. And the yet I say with a big smile, because I have a startup in portfolio that's going to do some amazing things very soon, and they have a positioning 70% market share in Europe. So already I think you're going to find that problem completely solved in 6 to 12 months.
What was the name of the?
The company itself is called EVA Global, EVA Global, EVA Assist. Amazing guys, but they're yeah, they're doing some cool things, and they're going to do even more cool things, undoubtedly, in the future. So okay, now we've hit the minute 35. So now the idea is to jump into the pitches, and the number one was squad mobility. So I can't remember who it was that was going to talk from squad mobility, but I'm going to add you to the mix now. Yep, here you go, Robert. Brilliant.
Yes.
And Robert, if you could start sharing your screen, I'll add it.
I'll do that.
And then we can jump into the pitch. And I'll just change this banner that I've got running. And I'll put in rather than
I can just share the complete screen, I guess.
Yes, you can. If you just click on, and for the others that are coming along later, if you could start sharing before you come on screen, it's always better. Then we don't have these moments of pause.
Oh, and if I select share screen, then I can select the right tab. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah. There you go. Brilliant. Okay, I'll add it to the screen. So we'll all stay on screen. You can't see me. I'm behind the banner now, but I'm here. Robert, far away. You've got 4 minutes for the pitch, and then we'll fire away questions. If any of the audience would like to send you a question, then please upload it, and we'll add it into the conversation. So 4 minutes starting now. Go.
Yes, thank you very much. Yeah, so we are Squad Mobility. We have developed a squad. We like to call it world's first solar city car. That's the vehicle you see here. We are myself, Robert Hoovers, on the left side, and Chris, my partner, on the right side. We have more than 25 years experience in mobility, designed all kinds of vehicles, also in the south of Europe. Chris also worked at Derby, a daughter of Piaggio. I worked in Italy with various daughters of Piaggio as well. Chris worked at Renault. And we met each other at the company here at the top, Lightyear, who make the luxury solar car. So we decided for the solar city car, we saw a great opportunity there, the Squad. And it's an answer to a big problem that in the near future, EVs will not be affordable for the average European. And we see a great opportunity in the European L6 and L7 regulations. Other aspects is the challenges of urban mobility, increasing congestions, and parking problems as well. So as an answer to that, we developed a Squad, extremely affordable city vehicle, very comfortable, safe, and sustainable. Starting price, 6,250 euros excluding tax. So that's without doors. So with doors, you will go, and including tax in the Netherlands, for instance, you will go up to 8,500 euros, but still extremely affordable. Obviously, the key aspect is the solar charging. In the Netherlands, validated up to 22 kilometers a day. In the south of Spain, where you are, Tom, you can go up 31 kilometers per day. The average distance used in these kinds of micro vehicles is around 12.5 kilometers per day. So the solar aspect is very relevant in the daily usage. But we can also charge with the swappable battery system. We developed our own swappable batteries. You can have up to 4 in the vehicles, which can be hot swapped, as we like to call it. So they can be swapped under load or on the charge. The vehicle can reach a range of up to 100 kilometers with 4 swappable batteries. And obviously the parking issue, big issue in most European cities. You can park up to 3 squads in one single parking spot. The vehicle is completely filled with all kinds of innovations. One is what people really like is around 25% of our pre-orders is for the Squad without the doors. So people really see it as a vehicle for it's being ordered a lot for communities, gated communities, golf cart communities, seaside resorts, all these kinds of use cases. Currently, Most of the pre-orders go to US, and in Europe, the most of the pre-orders go to Germany. So we have finished the prototype, validated, tested. We have a huge interest worldwide, a lot of pre-orders, a lot of interest in general from media. So the squad is designed for private use, but also designed for sharing platforms. When time goes on, increasingly we will implement more IoT functions, cameras, and our long-term vision is to have a complete fleet of autonomous squads as a flock of squads through the city, going to those places with the highest demand. Are we going to the end of the presentation? Is it 4 minutes already?
Brilliant, perfectly timed.
I think we're there.
We're there. You couldn't have done it better. What an amazing solution! It's really great, and to have more or less 20 million of sales before you've even started producing is really amazing. I've just got one question. I'm sure Nadim will have some on the manufacturing side of things, but I've just got one question in terms of the revenue model. So I'm assuming there's some kind of recurring revenue as the batteries are, you taking ownership of the batteries when you buy the vehicle, or is there some kind of rental option on the batteries? Or are there's some kind of recurring revenue model in there, or is it just a pure one-off play?
Well, so the pure business case for us is vehicle sales and battery sales. However, we will also offer the vehicle as a lease option or subscription option as well. We don't do that ourselves. We do it with partners. The partners are in the background. We also offer, say, for instance, insurance with the vehicle, and we also do that with the biggest partners in this field. And we are basically, how you call it, an agent for those partners. But you don't see them. But when you go through the process, you will have the options of a financing scheme or an insurance option. But our business model is very simple. We just sell vehicles and batteries.
Okay. And then just one other question, and then Alex and Nadim, please fire away. In terms of round, if you don't want to say valuation, don't say it, but I mean, how much money are you looking for to take yourselves to the next level? And what's the basic roadmap for that money?
Yeah, so we currently need another year development to go. So this is basically a proof of function, a proof of concept combined. So we need another year to go into proof of product. So that's basically the complete finished product pre-production. We need 12 million to go into production, including the first pre-production series and tooling as well. The tooling, because all the bodywork that you see is all injection molded, so we have more than 50 injection molds, and so that's around 5 million in tooling. So that's quite a big chunk, but obviously necessary because everything we do is designed for scale. Yeah. So all production method is all designed for scale.
So before I jump to Nadim and Alex, we'll give priority to the audience. So there's a quick question here from Vitaly on safety. I guess particularly if you're in different markets, then you've got to have different safety certification. But how do you handle that?
Yes, obviously important question. I'll just skip some slides forward. We go over and above the safety regulations. The safety regulations for L6, L7 are very basic. That's because L6, L7 is in the L category, while the micromobility category is same as two-wheelers. Well, it's not very difficult to be more safe than two-wheelers, but we go over and above. And if you look at this image here, you see a complete crash structure in the front and the rear as well, and basically a complete rollover structure. That's absolutely not mandatory, but we do it anyway. So we really are aiming for the safest mini car or micro car available in the market, because we really want to set a standard here Another very important safety aspect is the speed. Obviously, the main ingredient for safety. And we deliberately choose to go what we like to call low L7 or L6. L6 is up to 45 kilometers an hour, and low L7. Legally, you can go up to 90 kilometers an hour. We don't do that. We go up to 70 kilometers an hour. That makes a huge difference. It's really made for cities, urban and suburban environments, and not for the highway.
Okay, all right. So Nadim, Alex, all yours.
No, I was trying to see in terms of distribution, Robert, like the taxes and getting these vehicles. You were mentioning that the majority of the pre-orders are going to United States, and we learned from the micromobility industry that sometimes producing part or these assemble, right, it could be a very good opportunity to to get around these regulatory things. Do you have any specific strategy for that?
Yes, as you see, I'm looking for this slide. Absolutely. We have developed something that we like to call micro factories. So what we really do is we move the final assembly very close to market, and we do it deliberately and on purpose. And it's not only an afterthought, but the vehicle is really designed to do it. The vehicle is more produced like a motorcycle than a car. Chris and I both designed motorcycles in the past and cars as well. So it's really a blend. So you see the space frame, the frame, and the body parts are basically injection molded plastic parts clicked on the frame, just like a motorcycle. So it's very simple. It's very easy to move the final assembly to very close to market. And we have a lot of interest worldwide for third parties to do this. The final assembly is not something we have the ambition to do ourselves. We really want to do it with partners in the market. And these micro factories can also function as a spare parts hub. Yeah. So it makes a lot of sense to combine the two. So you're absolutely right. And we're talking with final assembly places in India, in Mexico, in the UAE, in basically worldwide. There's a lot of interest for these micro plants.
Thank you, Robert.
Brilliant. Robert, that was absolutely perfect. And it was great to see that every question we came up with, you already had a slide prepared for. It's not that frequent that you see that. So thank you very much. We've reached the 6 minutes. I'm going to take you off screen now.
Thank you.
If anybody wants to get in touch with you, they've got your... Oh, I'm not sure they have. I will add in your LinkedIn contact details in a comment after this. So that anybody can connect up with you, but they've got your name on screen, so they can look for you if you're not. There you go, Robert over. So thank you very much, and I'll jump into Marco from Mevo Mobility. So Volvero, sorry, I was jumping. So Marco, if you could start sharing your screen, and then I'll add it. I'll add it to the screen.
Now, Tom, can you confirm you can hear me and see me loud and clear?
We can hear you and we can see you.
I see Tom's slide. Okay, just 1 second, please.
Then you've got 4 minutes for the pitch, and then we'll jump into 6 minutes with questions. Once again, same as Vitaly did right now for Squad Mobility. Anybody has any questions, please feel free to fire away, and we'll give you priority over ourselves. Here you go, Marco's screen. Just need to, there you go. Brilliant. Okay, it's all yours. You got 4 minutes starting now.
Okay, good. So hello everyone, it's Marco Filippi here, and I am the CEO and founder at Volvero. So I want to bring you back to your last vacation, probably last summer, when you arrived to your final tourism destination. One of the first things you want to do is to get a car you find there to explore the island, see what's beautiful around. But maybe recently you also had to deal with a regular relocation. So you wanted to rent a small truck to put your stuff in and to move it to your new house. So my question for you is, do you still remember how was your last car rental experience? And probably it wasn't great. People hate the car rental experience. It's very cumbersome, not very user-friendly, and terms and conditions applied are not very clear. So for this reason, we created Volvero. Volvero is indeed an app for connecting owners of different type of vehicles with a community of drivers that want to rent them by days. And indeed, Volvero is used right now from different type of owners, like car dealers and car rentals that want to digitize their business model through our technology, our app, and our platform, and also create new business lines. Corporates are also providing vehicles because they want to generate extra income and also to raise their brand awareness with local communities, so local people can rent out company X vehicle and get around with their own with the branded vehicle of the company in the cities. But also private owners are part of our community. Indeed, they can put their vehicles on the platform and share them with people around them. And of course, all of this is coming with an impact. Through car sharing solution, we can definitely reduce the waste of raw materials and also the waste of urban areas used as parking spots. The market is quite big, 200 billion euro. It's the total addressable market. We see some competitors, especially in the United States, but the problem they are facing is that entering Europe is quite complex because Europe is made of 27, 28, now I don't recall exactly how many different states do we have here, but there is a fragmented regulation and also law and insurance ecosystem. This is indeed the reason why we are standing out from our competitor, because we created an insurance that can be fully deployed across countries, ready to use, and it covers different type of vehicles from different type of owners, as said. We do have the IP over this insurance that was created in partnership with Europe Assistance. And of course, a technology, we are a deep tech startup. We have 4 patents pending for how we use artificial intelligence and blockchain for tracking how users are driving, how vehicles are performing, and then create a gamification solution where we promote the best drivers and the best vehicles. We are currently live in Italy, where university students, young professionals are asking for vehicles, and mostly car dealers offering their vehicles in the northern part of Italy. So we want to grow in our country, but also enter Spain by the end of the year, where we already are in touch with some local partners. The founders and the CEO and founder experience in finance, while my 2 co-founders, they are tech people, so we take care of development of the solution in-house. We already generated revenue. We take a percentage on each transaction, so it's quite simple. And to end, we are looking for commercial partnerships to grow internationally. So, ladies and gentlemen, I am Marco Filippi, CEO and founder at Volvero. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thanks for that. Thanks for that, Marco. So just a very quick question. I'll fire off and I'll pass it to the audience and to Alex and Nadim. Is in terms of the income that you see per vehicle. So you said that you take a commission. You haven't said quite how much. If you don't mind, that would be great to know. And then to know more or less sort of what level of income people are actually generating per vehicle. You're looking for obviously companies that comply, but I guess both for demand for their employees and for supply if they happen to be vehicle owners. But it'd be very interesting to know what the income per.
Those are very, very bright questions indeed. So we charge a percentage that is variable, so between 15 and 30% based on who the owners are. And currently, We are also generating revenue through giving access to our technology to corporates. So there are some big companies, like for instance, we are doing a pilot in Ireland with the Irish energy company. So they pay us for using our service for allowing a corporate car sharing a system. So there are different business lines also for us. And to go to the second point of your question, usually owners can make 30, 40, 50, or even more euro per day. It, of course, depends on the seasonality, on the season, and also on the type of vehicle that they are sharing. In general, for the end user, we are a little cheaper than traditional car rentals, and the prices on our platform are more stable than car rental solutions, where you have high peaks during on season. So that's what they also like about us, the stability of the prices.
Brilliant. Well, there's a quick question from the audience, and then I'll open up to Alex and Nadim with regards to your patents. So if you could just answer, he's asking with what confidence you feel that you'll get them, and in what geographies they cover. Yeah.
And in the meantime, I think you're still seeing the screen, so I also prepared a list of FAQ that can help the audience.
Okay.
So patents, we are like all of them are patent pendings, because of course we are a startup, so it takes more than 3 years to have them secure. At least half of them we are very confident will be then given to us, granted, because like 2 of them still we are trying to submit some replies to the WIPO, because there are some things that we need to specify. 2 of them are at national level, but one of the 2 national is already at European level, while the other 2 are WIPO, PCT, so are more of a global scale. And yeah, as said, we are confident that at least half of these patents will be issued to us.
Okay, cool. Well, Alex, Nadim, all yours.
Yeah, first, congrats. And I would like to say a private note that I developed for 10 years the exact same kind of business. So feel free to connect with me, because I might have some tips. And my question, but then I had a look on Get Around, because in this space that is not very new, there is some large players, basically American players acquiring several players in France, for example, that were really big, like the Drivey got acquired. So my question was, how do you differentiate? But I've seen that in Italy they are not present yet, so that might be the opportunity for you.
Yeah, great question. Yeah, we know well what happened in France. There were indeed 2 players, as you said, Drivey and Wicar, and both of them have been acquired for 300 million USD, one company, and it's undisclosed the other one, from the 2 main players in the ecosystem, the 2 American companies, Turo and Get Around. This was before 2021. Now Turo and Get Around are slowly leaving their plans to enter Europe, while focusing more on the US, because still they have a lot of market to capture there, and also there is less liquidity available for entering Europe through acquisition. So this gives us good time to grow and become the number 1 player in Europe. How can we do this? First, our investors are the EIT, Urban Mobility, and EIT Impact Hub, Climate Kick. So every time we enter a new country, and we already did it while piloting in Ireland and Belgium last year, we directly sit at the table with the regulators. So this is a huge advance for us. And also the policy we have developed can be quite easily deployed throughout European countries. And this is one of the things that it's really difficult for other entrants and incumbents to solve. So we are better positioned to scale faster than anyone else, at least for what regards Europe. I hope I was clear with the answer. I definitely want to connect with you, Alex, because for what you said, it will be very interesting for us.
Cool. Okay. Well, we've reached the end of the 6 minutes. So Nadim, sorry, we missed you this time. But what I'll do, I'll now say goodbye to you, Marco. Thank you very much for the pitch, and hope to see you in. Same with Robert. Hope to see you in Madrid at the annual investor event. And now I'll bring on Adria. He is now from Mevo Mobility. So Adria, if you could start sharing your screen, and then I'll add it in, and I'll start the clock. Here you go.
Brilliant. Yeah, sure. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, can now. Okay, I'll start the clock. You've got 4 minutes from now.
Okay, so good morning, everybody. I'm Adria Aguado, CEO of Mevo Mobility, and I'm going to present you the app that will change the way people move around our cities. At Mevo, we identified 3 main problems in mobility. The first one, the fact that there are too many mobility apps in big cities, such as Barcelona, Paris, or Berlin. The limitation, second one, to the use of cars and the access of cars in big cities with low emission zones restrictions in Europe in plus 50,000 inhabitant cities.
Adria, there you go. Sorry, you've taken it off. Sorry, there was the little alert on there that was stopping us seeing everything. Go. Sorry, I'll start again.
Okay, sorry. No, and I was mentioning, and the third problem was bad digitalization of public transport, as the average of 2.3 out of 5 in App Store and Play Store in public transportation applications in Spain show. So with these problems in mind, we developed Mevo, the solution that groups all sustainable mobility options in a city into a single application that moreover integrates a gamification system that fosters sustainable mobility options through rewards and challenges. And third, creates the most personalized routing tool, taking into account at all time the consequences and the preferences of the users. So the value proposition for the users is very simple: a cheaper, easier, and more personalized mobility just at the palm of your hands, but also for mobility operators, taking into account that the number of potential clients by mobility operator increases exponentially, bringing more users and more profitability to these mobility providers. We have 2 business models. On one side, the B2G, in which we become the official mobility app of the city, and that they are closing deals in Spain and in Europe around 100,000 euros per year. And on the other side, the B2B2C model, in which we charge a 3 to 9% commission in exchange of the users and the trips that we provide to the shared mobility services. In terms of market size, we are targeting a very big market in terms of mobility as a service, with more than 32 billion in Europe in the side of B2G, and more than 72 billion euros in the side of B2B2C model. Right now, we have the confidence of our clients and partners with big companies in both areas, such as Acciona, Avanza, or Coltra, in the side of the clients B2B2C, and also strategic partnerships such as Lanfedera, EIT Urban Mobility, or Valencian University that are bringing us key elements to bring Mevo forward. In terms of market expansion, our plan is to begin in Spain and then 2023 being present in more than 5 cities in Spain, but also in the coming 3 years expand to other countries like Portugal, Italy, or France, in which we have already started our conversations. In terms of competitive analysis, we have identified different competitors around the globe, such as Transit in Canada, WIM in Finland, MIP here in Spain, and CityMapper in the UK. But we believe that in terms of product, we have a competitive advantage in terms of differentiation through our gamification system and through the CO2 and money saved algorithms that allow us to interact with the user in a different way from what our competitors have done recently, and that allow us to compete in different markets than our competitors. Right now, we are fundraising a total fund round of 225,000 euros, 150,000 from private equity and 75,000 from ENISA. We have secured 40,000 euros investment from the EIT Urban Mobility, and the main destination of the funds will be hiring and retaining talent, investing in marketing to raise awareness of our product, and strengthening our product to make it more powerful when we scale it to the Spanish level. In terms of financials, as you can see, Mevo is looking for a profitable business from the very beginning, and we expect to have 4.5 million euros in revenues in December 2026. we are very happy and very proud of our evolution throughout the years and the management of the scarce resources that we have enabled. So we are sure that with this funding round, we will be able to bring Mivo to 5 cities, grow the team to 5 people, and have more than 150,000 users. And our team is as the following, that we believe is the core of our business and that will make Mivo the app that will change the way people move in their cities. Thank you.
Brilliant timing. Thank you for that, Adria. Okay, I've got one quick question. Reminder to the audience, please fire away with any questions you have and we'll give you priority. But just one quick question in terms of, well, it's two really, but both regarding current level of traction. So I saw on the graph you had 38,000 for this year. Does that mean that you're currently on 19,000? That's sort of the first, or if you could talk us through where you are right now. And then the other is in terms of the split of the revenues. Obviously, you don't have any B2G clients, I'm guessing, because there's a €100,000 ticket and you've got a €38,000 invoicing for this year. But if you could give us an idea of sort of the pipelines, then you had 5,000 users. I mean, where are you in terms of that split of clients?
Yeah, sure. Regarding the first question, right now the main financial part has come from a contract that we have signed with a smart tourism company called Unblock, in which we are going to provide them with the mobility services in the cities that they operate with, and it's valued around €30,000. So that's why the biggest part of our financials so far in 2023 comes from that big contract that we have signed with them in order to expand our mobility solution, not only from directly our app, but also integrating it in other apps and in other businesses that we have seen that can be a possible revenue generating option. And in terms of B2G and B2B2C, considering that we are still developing the payment and the booking part on the platform, we believe that this €6,000 to €7,000 remaining will be coming from this B2B2C part, in which we have already integrated different partners such as Coltrack, Fiona, or Avanza, in which we are generating revenue in different ways.
Okay, fantastic. Well, floor's open up. Nadim, it's your turn. But if Alex wants to jump in, well, there you go.
Oh, sure. For sure, Adria, this is an area where we have been working together across multiple startups in the world, from Latin America to Spain, and we'll be happy to follow on with the conversation. To understand actually the projections, we are very aware about the trends, and I think it's a very good idea to try to mix kind of this user behavior and rewards towards this kind of platforms, because we have witnessed that the integration is not enough, right, to have the organical traction. I have a deeper question about the B2C kind of model, because we are looking this trend that everything is shrinking and heading into B2B, which of course you mentioned with the operators. But for sure, let's keep the conversation going.
Okay, sure. I will be pleased to have a deeper conversation another time.
Alex, any questions? Or?
To me, what remains unclear is the business model. Is it like B2G and basically because every city wants their mass system? Is it okay?
So the question is if the business model in the B2G is to provide a mass application for every city. Is that right?
Yeah.
In that sense, we believe that there is a huge trend towards understanding how mass can be developed in the upcoming years. We believe that one advantage that we have in respect of our competitors is that the momentum of mass is right now. As you said, every European city above 100,000 citizens is looking forward to adopt a mobility digitalization process or projects that involve mass. So we believe that rather it's white labeling, rather it's staying with our own brand, B2G can be a huge source of revenue generation. And we are already experiencing that in, for example, the Valencian community. We have seen different cities that are not as big as maybe Barcelona, Madrid, or Valencia, but other smaller cities that are also interested in our solution, and that can be our target market in order to start competing with the big competitors on the larger scale.
Just on that topic, two quick ones. So that I'm guessing that the €30,000 contract that you've got at the moment is basically the B2G model, no, or similar.
No, it's not B2G. The contract is. It's more a B2B. We are also seeing that in terms of mobility as a service, there is a discussion about if mobility as a service is an extra layer of value in other services, such as ride-hailing or such as tourism or different sectors. So in this sense, we have partnered with Unblock in the side of tourism, and we believe that Mevo can have a really important role in the development of the mobility side of the smart tourism platform of Unblock, and that's why they are paying us to be providing them this mobility part of their solution.
Yeah, brilliant. No, that's what I understood. So when I said the B2G, that's what I did sort of that you're basically providing them a white label solution that connects all the mobility providers. And I just had one thought, because you said that was 30,000, and here you've got 100,000 on screen. You know, anything over, as you know, 15,000 euros requires a complex tender process. So if you did have a solution that was under 15,000, you would probably find that the take up was a lot faster and a lot easier. And if you've got one client that you're providing 30,000, they're probably doing more than one city. Well, you know, maybe just a tip anyway that it's worth something.
Sure, Tom, and thank you for the advice. And we already know that this is like the business model ideally and at scale. But our go-to-market strategy in terms of B2G is to develop pilot projects with the cities from 6 months to 1 year with this cap of 15,000 euros in Spain and, for example, 20,000 euros in Portugal. So we have the confidence of the municipality of the city. We develop a strong relationship with them. So when the tender comes up, we are fully ready to take it over some of our competitors, and we can have that unfair competitive advantage in that sense.
Perfect. Seeing that you've been through Lanthadera, I assume that all of this would have been, but I thought it was worth mentioning anyway. Okay, thanks a lot, Adrià. I will take you off screen now. And last one is Rich from FinMile. Sorry that we're a little bit slow, but Rich, it always happens.
No worries.
If you could start sharing your screen, and then we'll jump into it.
Sure. Hold on a sec.
Here we go. Perfect. Okay, I'll start the clock now. Then you got 4 minutes.
Great. Thanks so much for the time, guys. I'm excited to chat today. So we're building this modern network for logistics. We collect and we utilize enormous amounts of data whilst we're delivering parcels to make cities more livable. Obviously, as everybody knows, parcels at the moment don't get to their destinations efficiently. We pollute, we cause congestion. If we change those vehicles there to electric, inevitably, we're going to have the same amount of congestion, and there will be some fossil fueled vehicles. Something needs to change, as we know that urban deliveries are growing, and we know there's going to be more delivery vehicles on the roads. What Fin does is we do the middle mile in an all-electric fleet of vans and soon to be lorries. And then we do the last mile in very congested cities using cargo e-bikes. We can then deliver and return parcels faster at a higher margin and cheaper to the end consumer. So we put it down a micro fulfillment hub. We deliver anywhere within a 20 to 25 minute radius. The bikes can return as many times as they need to throughout the day to pick up more parcels. At shift change, we switch batteries. We put new parcels into the bikes, and the bikes go out again. So we get super high utilization on the bikes, and we can return obviously as many times as we need to. These are 2 of our micro fulfillment and charging hubs. Obviously, during the day, the bikes are out delivering. We don't own any stock. We don't hold any stock. So in the day, the warehouses are actually pretty empty. So we rent out those warehouses to people who want to do basic tasks. So we've rented out to a company that folds linen, as you can see in the background here. And we essentially pay for our warehousing through this warehouse as a service. At night, the bikes are charging, maintenance is happening. And then in the morning, all of the bikes leave full of parcels, come back to pick up more parcels and deliver their parcels to their destinations. This is an example of our fleet. We have Ford e-Transits, we have EAVs and Fernhays. At the moment, we have around 40 vehicles. We have won a huge client, so we'll be growing that to around 120 vehicles during the summer months. How we have built our moat is the deliveries. We own the customer now. So we sign exclusive contracts for our service area, which is within the M25 in London. We then do returns, which is a huge part of the business. We have warehousing as a service. We have our technology, so we can do tracking, order demand, and smart routing. We sell for same-day delivery. So just as FedEx invented overnight shipping, we now enable retailers to engage in cost-effective same-day shipping and returns. So we can adjust a rider's route on the fly, allowing retailers to do same-day deliveries. So if you imagine a rider's on their route between these stops, the algorithm puts in potentially a return or 10 pickups from Zara, very small deviation from the route. We can pick up those parcels and then start delivering. We're also making cities smarter. So we collect enormous amounts of data with the cameras, the telematics, and the sensors that we have on our bikes. We're also adding LiDAR. So with our machine learning, we can analyze all that data. We can plan routes better. We sell that data to ride-hailing companies, food delivery companies like Deliveroo, DoorDash, and Uber Eats. And we can then predict the risk of a road collision by advising on safer routes. This is our current service area. So we operate within the M25. We are contracted about 450,000 in monthly recurring revenue at the moment. We win customers because we can get them to net zero immediately. We're more affordable, better service because we're customer centric, and we're faster because we utilize our technology. Huge opportunity across Europe. There's major cities that are all suffering from this congestion and density issues. And the big thing is we're raising £5 million now. We have 3 million of that committed. We have contracted monthly recurring revenue of £550,000, which is growing every month. And I think that's 4 minutes.
That's it. Okay, thank you very much for that, Rich. Well, I could come up with hundreds of questions for this one, but I'll only fire away one. And as I said to the audience, if you've got any questions, fire away, and we'll give it priority. My one, obviously, this is a really actual difficult, far more of a difficult in the business than most people realize. And I love the fact that it all revolves around the cents, right, of saving those cents on every delivery. So I love the fact that you're utilizing your warehouse space to reduce that cost, and I guess the data analysis gives you another sort of potential revenue stream. But my question really, as I'm only going to do one, is around MRR. So why do you term it MRR? So are you really charging a recurring fee to the users, or is most of this delivery or pickup one-off charges?
So we're not a courier business, so we don't go and pick up one-off parcels and deliver them to somewhere else. We recommend someone else for that. We are a large-scale logistics company, so we have very large-scale e-commerce companies that we deliver for. They have a very predictable number of parcels that they deliver each month. And essentially, in all of our contracts, we get an exclusivity clause for our service area, and sometimes we get a minimum number of parcels committed per month now or per week. So that means that we have a very predictable MRR, apart from in kind of October to December, when obviously that shoots up because we obviously with the peak, a company, a clothing company or a cosmetics company, potentially, they see their orders kind of 3x in that period of time.
Okay. So you're charging them. You're still charging them per parcel, but with a guaranteed invoicing, or maybe I guess there'll be some that you're charging per route or per day, or
no, we charge on a per parcel basis.
It's always per parcel.
Yes.
Okay, fantastic.
But all right. Well, as I said, we're not a courier business, so we don't really talk to companies who are doing under kind of 100 parcels a day. we're looking, we deliver kind of 10,000 to 20,000 a day, and it's looking at those large companies that we target.
Yeah, it's the Amazons, Signy Owls.
No, we don't work with Amazon. Amazon is that would be a DSP. You're not allowed to mix parcels with Amazon. So we work with the large kind of e-commerce companies, but not Amazon.
Okay, cool. All right, Alex, Nadim, all yours. If you've got any questions,
Alex, please go ahead.
No, on this one, I let you first.
No, for me, I think it's super interesting, Rich. I can see that. Well, we have, when we started this our investment thesis, we saw these 4 main pillars in mobility, which was, everything from autonomous, connectivity, electrification, and of course, after the last few years, logistics and all the delivery aspect of it. It's now a main asset, right? So for us, I think it's super interesting to see, how these solutions come across. In Mexico, we're looking at a lot of these intermediaries and these asset heavy and software platforms that are exactly tackling everything that is not Amazon, everything that is in between. So congratulations. I think it's a great idea.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
Okay, we've got a question from the audience in terms of your expansion strategy. I'll leave you to read it. You see it here on screen.
Yep. Thanks so much, Christina. So obviously, everybody knows that we need to reduce emissions. Cities across the world are putting in place in kind of regulations now. So Paris, for example, has banned vans in the city center. So they need a solution. Barcelona is now taxing vans to enter the city center at 1.25% of their annual revenue. So for us, our expansion strategy is to look at highly dense cities where they have the pollution and they have the congestion issue. And then to persuade businesses that sustainability is something that they really should care about. Now, we know that reporting and stakeholder management is becoming more and more important. So that is becoming less of an uphill battle, and people are approaching us to do that. Obviously, as we grow, we have more vehicles on the road. They're all brightly kind of purple colored, advertising our brand out there. So the more vehicles we have, the more business comes in. But it is, the more regulation that we have on taxing vans that enter the city centers, on the emissions, but also on the congestion aspect. Now, we know in London, there is going to be a congestion charge fee on electric vans, on all electric vehicles from 2025. So, we're going to get a huge kind of, we're pushing uphill at the moment, but it's going to become much easier as the regulatory environment makes it better for us.
Fantastic. Well, I've got one last. It's really a comment more than a question. That you've mentioned Barcelona a couple of times, and it was on screen. I wonder if you've considered technologically using the lorries themselves as the micro fulfillment hubs, because Barcelona is actually perfectly suited for this because it's got one straight road that goes right the way through the center of town. So you can
so we have looked at that of using lorries as our micro fulfillment hubs. The big thing that we don't want to do there is obviously ensure that there needs to be more parking spots in cities. We could block cycle paths there. For us, having the micro fulfillment hubs mean that we are not a bother to the local environment. We can see that the last 80 years, cities have been designed around vehicles to get vehicles in and out and take away from our green spaces. We want to ensure that we're not adding more vehicles to a city. The micro hubs that we have are very inexpensive. We pay between 10 and 15 pounds a square foot. And we can ensure that we can bring that cost down. So we're not adding extra vehicles into the city. We don't want to do that. We want to make sure that this is a totally green environment. We always set up our micro hubs by cycle superhighways so that the bikes can go straight in. The vans can come in, obviously, off the artery roads into cities. They unload everything and they disappear out of the city again. We do not want them hanging around.
Perfect. All right. With that, Rich, I'll very quickly say goodbye. Thank you very much for this. Again, I hope we see you in Madrid on the 25th of October. And then to Alex and Nadim, thank you very much, as always, for your time. I hope that for the audience has found it interesting. I will be seeing you guys probably even before, the 25th of October, but if not, see you on the 25th of October. And for everybody that didn't see it at the beginning and is watching now, we're organizing our 6th annual Smart Mobility Investor event for the Connected Mobility Hub in Madrid on the 25th of October as part of the Global Mobility Call, which is a big event that they're organizing in Ifema. So with that, everybody can run off to lunch. Thank you, everybody, once again, and see you all soon. Bye.
Thank you. See you soon.
Bye, guys. Have a great day.